Okay, so we're gonna put this on.
Whoa.
If you look around you, you can see the witness blanket. So this is the entire original installation, which has been scanned, remodeled, retextured into the 3D environment using Unreal Engine.
This is really cool.
Thank you.
When it comes to a project like the witness blanket, my reaction is around wanting people to understand the truth of the experience of children in residential schools. Like, we talk about survivors, we talk about the institutions, but not many of us have access to hearing the words of survivors, to understanding that experience on like a personal relational level. And so the witness blanket is a reaction to colonialism.
And then if you grab any of these objects,
Oh, wow.
to examine it, if you look up into the sky as well here, you're going to see that it's turned to night when you're holding the dream catcher. We've got some aurora happening. You might even hear a little bit of music playing in the background.
The witness blanket is an installation or art project. It was my response to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's call for commemoration initiatives. I came up with this idea of gathering objects, and eventually the gathering of those objects turned into making a blanket from them. So now we have this 40-foot long, 10.5-foot tall blanket that's made of solid objects. We put it into the shared stewardship of the Canadian Museum for Human Rights and started working on various other ways of sharing the witness blanket and figuring out how it's different to interact with the objects on the blanket in virtual reality. What are the kind of opportunities that technology provides that the physical original blanket doesn't? And one of those things is sound. So we've been gathering sounds from culture, sounds from language, sounds from cultural practice, and working them into the soundscape of the blanket.
What do you hear some of them tell you about the kind of lifestyle they had there?
And maybe consider the pieces and the stories in a little bit different way through the wonder of virtual reality. I want survivors ultimately to be the ones who determine what works and what doesn't.
My homeland, the prairies.
And now you're going to see we're in an entirely new environment, still with the witness blanket, but with new surroundings around us.
Wow. It's like pretty emotional, actually.
Yeah.
It's because you really feel like you're there. There's so much detail. There's so much to look at in here.
So we have, I think, about over 880 contributions that come from every province and territory and come from almost all of the residential schools that are part of the Indian residential school system.
It's a definitely a very heavy project to work on, but also so important. I think that we all feel really grateful that we're able to work on something that's so significant.
We can click on any of the objects that we've put into this space. The thing is, visual scripting is kind of a little bit easier, I think, for any person to get into because you don't have to look at a wall of text. But yeah, every 800 items, they all have probably 40 bits of information associated with them, and that's just the objects. And then there's unique mechanics that go into each of these different interactions as well.
So that's something we just changing a few little variables around. We can change the entire look and feel of the water, make it a bit transparent, change how it absorbs the light, and we can make a completely different water experience based on that.
It has been challenging to make sure that as we're working, we're trying to make it seem as far away from the video game as possible. Just to remain respectful to the subject matter, it felt really prudent to explore alternatives to a lot of conventional navigation mechanics and interaction types. I feel grateful for the opportunity to work on it and just learn more and ideate more and see where we can push not only the technology but the creative process.